This is Sickle Cell and the Mind, a mental wellness podcast, brought to you by the European Sickle Cell Federation. It's time to reduce social isolation and create new pathways to mental wellness together. You're listening to Sickle Cell and the Mind, a mental wellness podcast, with your host, Imaarl Duprey.
I'm your host, Imaarl, and today we're going to be talking about isolation and exclusion related to sickle cell. So should we go around and introduce ourselves? So should we start with Dècio?
Hello, my name is Dècio Temporário. I come from Portugal. I was born in Mozambique. I lived in the Netherlands, but now I'm in Portugal, so I'm representing Portugal now. I'm a physical therapist, and I have sickle cell and thalassemia.
Okay, and should we go over to Shanice?
Yeah, my name is Shanice. I'm from Germany. I'm 32 years old and I have sickle cell anemia. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I don't have sickle cell personally, but I do care for a father who has a long-term chronic mental illness. So he has bipolar disorder and has suffered with various episodes of psychosis throughout his lifetime. So I know that related to sickle cell, there are a lot of stresses that threaten the mental well-being of people that are experiencing sickle cell. And so we're going to talk a bit more about the mental well-being aspect related to sickle cell. Can you describe a time when you felt completely isolated by sickle cell?
I mean, I can name you a bunch of them because if you are known in the sickle cell world, every time that we have a crisis is something different. So we have to deal with the crisis and what it affects in that particular time. So I can remember, like, most of the times is like when you're in the recovering process, dealing with the recovering process that's hard itself, but sometimes is it's more difficult to deal with when you don't have people around you that can help you and provide you the space you need to address the situation. I mean, I have a lovely wife that has been on this roller coaster with me for almost 15 years. But I can name a lot of the times that when I'm recovering and when I need my space, I feel like um, I have to to turn the switch on mode. Uh, Something like she's always caring, always asking how I feel, and if I'm feeling better, and if she can help you in some kind of way. But there are some times when you just need to uh, be focused on yourself, um, and that's difficult to deal with and cope with when you're living with someone that is always asking you how you doing. How lovely that may sound, but sometimes it's very hard to relate to someone that you obviously care, but at the same time you don't understand the process that you got to get into to recover yourself. Um, and besides that, it's just like in those moments, um, you're just trying to lick your wounds and heal yourself, and trying to understand the better way um, to engage um, with your loved ones and engage with yourself and your life. And it's hard to explain. I mean, it's hard to explain. I was trying to get the fastest answer possible, but I mean, just those times when you are recovering, and when you need your space, and the space is not given uh, um, as you like it, I think.
Yeah,
Does it make sense? I
of
don't know.
course. And it's interesting that you touched on it's hard to explain, because I know in my experience of like caring for a father with a mental illness, and I know in a lot of languages and cultures they don't even have the words to describe the mental aspect of what they're experiencing. Do you think that that's played a part in your experience, the language of being able
Yes,
to describe what
yes. Not only the to have the right answers
Mhm.
at the times that you need, but understanding for yourself, maybe for myself, what it's better for me right now, um, and is this is going to help me process what I have now and what I have to deal with right in this situation. So so that's why it turns so hard to explain sometimes, because sometimes you don't even know what to say.
Of course. And I can imagine when you are having a period when you're unwell, it's quite, it takes a lot onto your mental well being. So once you're at a place where you're trying to recover, sometimes you don't want to speak to anybody about it because you're still trying to deal with what you've just experienced.
Yes. It's hard for me to open up. I'm a very lonely wolf in that manner, but I learned how to express my deepest feelings and what I want to my loved ones, especially to my wife. But sometimes it's very hard when you're living with someone that is constantly asking you if you're taking your meds, are you okay? What you are going to do next? How can I be serving you in some kind of way that can help you? It may turn into this snowball effect that only what you want is just leaving you alone in your corner, so that you can quietly address all the situations, and kind of making that step forward to the new beginning, because every crisis you have to deal with these new beginnings, the new beginnings that affect your body and mind as a whole. So that's what is more difficult for me.
Thank you for sharing that with us. And Shanice, do you think your experiences have been similar in terms of isolation and exclusion?
Yeah, well, I agree with Desio that it's different for everybody else. They have different struggles. If I think of isolation and exclusion because of sickle cell, I think of my time during when I had my first leg operation. I had many operations because of sickle cell. It deformed my body, and I was in a wheelchair for a year. And I think during that time, I felt very lonely, and I wasn't, it was at the age of 13, so I was still a teenager. And as a teenager, you just want to be normal like everyone else. You just want to play with the kids, with everyone else, and be part of be part of them. And yeah, during that time, it was hard for me to cope with it, and I just had to learn how to manage it. Yeah. So that's what I think about of isolation. Yeah.
And can you talk a bit more about how you managed to cope with the feelings of isolation?
Well, since I was in a wheelchair, I was mostly at home, and also because of sickle cell, it felt like it felt more like a safe space for me, because if I would go outside, I would have more pain crisis, and I thought if I would stay at home, I'd feel safe. I'm in my own bubble, and no one can judge me from there, and that's how I tend to be. It became the environment I preferred in my own four walls, basically.
And Decio, how would you say you coped with the feelings of isolation? I know you mentioned you've got a wife. Um,
Yeah, I brought in my wife in this conversation because it's the person that deal with me directly. So sometimes it's very hard to separate both things. You know what I mean? And it's very hard to maintain that healthy relationship between you and your partner or lifetime partner, and gotta deal with your own
of
issues.
course,
Uh, like um, every crisis that we have, it affects some part of our body, and some part of our body is permanently um, getting crushed, or just some part of our body cannot uh, um, maintain the normal function of it. Now, for me, sometimes, of most of the times, are in the bone structure. So I've been in the process of adding a surgery. I had the hip surgery last year, um, and for quite some time, I was just like not trying to have that operation because I already knew that if I had it, I had to be out of myself, out of my comfort zone during such time. So when I had it, the 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 easy way is to create your own bubble and just living in it and not showing other people what you have, or even uh, or even the fact that you have to get out and show yourself to to life in general. So it's more easier to kind of isolate yourself and create your own bubble and live in it with it.
yeah, I think it's interesting what you said about trying to separate the illness and the relationship, because I know for myself as a carer, I've been a carer for 17 years. And whilst you're trying to maintain that relationship for me as a daughter and father, it's also you're trying to be a carer and a doctor. And sometimes that can bring tension between, because as you said, sometimes you don't want to talk about the way you're feeling. And I know for my dad, I'm having to constantly, ask him if he's okay, has he taken his medication, and that can bring a lot of tension. It can shift the role, and so Shanice, I wondered whether how this has affected your social life and your ability to maintain friendships.
Well, um, for me, it was always, well, I grew up with the internet, so I made friends all over the world. That wasn't a problem. It was hard for me in school to make friends because I didn't I didn't want it was my the sickness, the sickle cell disease is unpredictable. You don't know whenever you will get pain, and I hated being unreliable or having to let people down because I was sick again. So it was I always kind of felt bad, and I would rather keep myself distance from others rather than disappoint them. And I think that's why I don't really have much close friends. I have friends that know about my situation and they understand if I have to take my time, and that I need space and to get my energy back. But yeah, most of the time it's like that, and I just try to explain it to them, and I, I value strong relationships that don't how do you say, that don't break off because of struggles I have like that. So if they don't know, if they can't understand, then that's that. And as long as I have the people I want in my life and who want to be with me, that's all that matters to me.
Would you say that's the same for romantic relationships and trying to maintain?
No, I just wanted to say it's the same with family, friends, and partner. It's
Yeah,
the same for me because everyone they have to understand. Yeah.
of course. And you, Dècio?
Sorry for interrupting you. Now, maintaining a relationship, you gotta have two ways. Otherwise, it's not a relationship. So most of the times, you have to um, let yourself go a little bit and not be selfish enough to have your way all the time, because that doesn't work. So what I learned in these years of my relationships was like there's a time when you have friends that only are with you by situation, and there are times when you value those friendships even more, and those times mostly are when you're not having him or having them around. So I lived in Portugal, and when I moved to the Netherlands, so I left a lot of my friends here in Portugal. When I moved to the Netherlands, they have to make new relationships, new friendships there. But the people that are still around me in these days are the people that actually didn't ask me much than my presence. Not physically, but the presence, like, I don't have to tell you that you are my friend so that you can show me that you're my friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
So, um, and you are begin and you start to be to pay attention more for those relationships because they matter most to you, because they are not asking you for nothing. They are just being there just because they want to. And when they actually get the chance to know you better, even if you struggle a lot, doesn't matter. Everybody struggles in that in some kind of way. But when they know you, when they really know you, and they really know that you struggle day by day to get past a lot of issues uh, relating to your health or to your well-being or work, whatever. Those are the friendships that you gotta maintain, and those are the hardest friendships to find. That's my point of view. So my wife is everything for me, but I feel that she's one of my best friends. I could say my best friend because she knows all the dirt, but I don't feel like I have to maintain that relationship forcefully.
yeah,
Does it make
yeah,
sense?
yeah.
I don't have to like be at my best every day, any time of the day, any hour, so that she knows that I'm there.
Yeah, I think what you've both been saying as well is that, when we're experiencing things physically and mentally, we really see who our true friends are, and the ability to, I guess, value those friendships that give us space, but are able to try and at least try and understand what you're going through. And it's not about the quantity and how many friends you have. It's really about the quality of the friendship that we do have and supporting us through things that we go through.
Exactly.
And Shanice, do you think, has there been instance where you felt excluded from social activities or life events?
Well, fortunately, when I do have important events or social events, I really make sure to take care of myself and be the healthiest person, drink a lot of water, take my vitamins, and then I usually show up and everything is fine. If I do miss out on it, then that's too bad. Um, I Yeah, I try to have my own boundaries and make sure to, yeah, like I said, explain it to others so they can understand. And there was one time, my first job actually, where um, I tried to push myself too hard because I didn't want to let anyone down. And then at that moment, I got really bad pain. And then it was at the workplace and it was in public and it was terrible. And I had to get picked up by my ambulance. And um, I felt really bad for letting down my boss and my colleagues. And ever since then, I just learned to slow down and um, take take more care of myself, even if it means if I have to miss out on something. So when I do miss out on something, I'm not that hard on myself, and I don't try to feel bad about it, and I choose what I want to do and what I don't want to do, basically. So yeah.
And both of you have described this feeling of like not wanting to let people down. Where do you think that's come from?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's because you want to prove yourself that you're capable of doing something and you can be there for someone, and then it's like it's not you're not in control of it because like I said, it's unpredictable whenever you get a crisis, and then all of a sudden, when you promise something, all of a sudden you couldn't show up for it, and then it makes you look like a bad person, and you don't really want to be that person. So I think that's why the the pressure is on. I don't know. I think that's the reason why I feel like I can't disappoint people because it happened too much, and I feel bad about it, but I know it's not my fault. So
And I guess it's this idea of like when you're going through chronic pain, it's something that you become sort of used to, that you're chronically unwell, and this is likely to happen in your lifetime. And so I guess you try and mask it a lot by trying to show up to these activities and showing that you are strong and you're capable,
mm,
just as much as your peers.
yeah, I guess that's it. The
Yeah,
masking. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. So, Shanice, do you think are there specific moments or events you've had to miss due to your condition, and how did that make you feel?
Mm, well, yeah, like I said, the only thing that really bothered me was when I was sick at my work, and when and that I felt really bad for it because they didn't know how bad my sickness was. They knew I was sick, but that it wasn't that bad. And um, yeah, I just always tell myself to do better next time, whatever that means. That I have to take better care of myself, and yeah, it's. I mean, then again, it's just my sickness. It's like yeah, it's there's nothing I can do about it. Um, sometimes at school, I would also sometimes feel like I'm a bit left out because, especially at the time when I was in a wheelchair, um, outside of school, I feel like they would be bonding without me, and then that would also make me feel bad and feel left out. Um, those were the hard times for me, but nowadays, yeah, I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything because, like I said, I choose with who I want to be friends with and what I want to do with them. And I listen to my body. And if it feels off, then it feels off. And if not, then yeah.
a lot of the feelings that you've described of being around feeling shame or like you have to do better next time. And I wondered whether you're connected with other people who have sickle cell in your community, or maybe you're the only one in your community, so you feel that you have more of a pressure to behave a certain way or to deal with your experience in a different way.
Yeah, for a long time, I was the only one. Since I also live in Germany, it's not a very known sickness, so it's like nobody knew what it meant. And yeah, for a long time I was alone with my sickness. And recently, well, not recently, but it was a friend I had met after long years, and I found out she had also sickle cell disease. She had the type S SC type, and but she also had sickle cell, and then we were bonding over that, and it was nice to know because um, we were able to understand each other, and I think that made us also become closer and stronger together. Also, last year I found out about the German Sickle Cell Association, where I also found many other people who went through similar things as me, and it definitely made me feel less alone. So, um, yeah, I finally found a community where people know what it means to have that
Oh,
sickness.
that's really good, because I guess not having people that understand would really impact your well-being, having to hold these emotions in and not being able to have anybody around you that really truly understands what you're going through.
Yeah, it makes you insane. It makes you go. Yeah, it's like you feel like no one understands you. You have to keep explaining yourself again and again, even when you're in hospital. It's like you think they finally educated themselves now, but no, nothing has changed. And but I feel like slowly we're spreading more awareness, and slowly maybe more people outside those countries will be able to learn about it more.
Yeah, and I guess sickle cells, there's still quite a lot of stigma around sickle cells. So a lot of people feel that they can't openly speak about what they're experiencing. So that will obviously have a impact on our mental health as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And Dècio, do you feel the same? Have there been events where you've had to miss out, and how has that impacted you? So, what advice would you give anyone that's experiencing isolation related to sickle cell?
Well, first of all, I would say you're not alone, because I know how you're feeling, and many others out there too. And I would just say try finding a community you can relate to with. I believe there's a community for everyone out there. For me, it was the German Sickle Cell Association. It made me feel less alone, definitely, and yeah, you're stronger together. Um, yeah, and don't be afraid to or too proud to ask for help. I think you shouldn't have to go through this alone, and there are people out there who want to help you and want to be with you, and yeah, if they really care about you, and I'm sure they'll be happy to help, because we are just human beings seeking for connection and comfort. And yeah, just talk about it, and share your thoughts, declutter your brain, and just connecting with people makes it so much better.
Thank you. And I think the more that we speak about our struggles, our mental struggles, or our physical struggles, we realize that a lot more people are struggling with the same things and may be able to offer advice of something that they've experienced and have come through the other end. So it's really important to have these conversations. And thank you. It's been a really positive conversation, really informative, and I wish you both the best in the future.
If you have been affected by any of the topics discussed in this episode, please reach out to the European Sickle Cell Federation so we can signpost you to the relevant support services in your country. Our email address is office@escfederation.eu.